There we go. I was like, focus seems a bit weird. Hunt. Alright, gamers. We got ourselves a trial going. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I'm trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? Where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 777777777777777 ID number that is? I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. And if that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. Not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much, and that's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. Edgeworth is an interesting boy right now. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? See you in court, right? Because we're the only two lawyers who exist. If I'm ever gonna find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Alright, and I need to scoot my face because the only other prosecutor got executed. And the old guy from the very first trial probably died of old age by now, so, like, he doesn't even matter. The only two people who can solve crimes, apparently. Yeah, the judge and Phoenix Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Rosberg has died of a heart attack by now, right? Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. It's the boy. He's gonna ask if we've been swimming. Morning, folks. How everyone's doing? How's everyone doing? Hey, Udgy. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Ha! That's a good one. I don't think I can top that. You don't mind me asking, Chief, what exactly is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. I went. Yeah, there's not that much light, though. If Nick wants to, he can turn on this light. I'm not gonna do it. What's this all about, defendant? Should have done it yourself. But it's funnier if I ask you to do it on live stream. I'd like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. What's your request? I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot in the prosecutor's office. You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I'd like you to render your verdict now, if you please. I like this effect of her turning around, because it acts almost as if she's speaking to the judge, even though the judge is technically facing towards us. We're looking at this from where the judge would see it, basically. So it's a little bass-ackwards. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Objection! I knew Edgeworth would be the one. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. Oh, that says a lot right there. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. Alright, dude. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Oh boy. It's like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Boy. Please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma. Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. Alright. He sure gave in fast. Please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. A trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Let's go. 2 years ago. Yes. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. I passed out. I don't remember much. It's understandable, however. Please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I love how even though we're getting towards the part where Edgeworth is supposed to be like a good guy, I love like the way how he's a good guy is he's just like he puts the ball in Phoenix Wright's court, and then he's just like, I'm done. You do your thing, dude. I'm good. You do it. I was waiting in my sister's office. Let's press on everything because I feel like this is gonna be one of those gotcha moments. The defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? She was second in command under then Deputy Chief of Police Gann. She was the best detective ever. Deputy Chief Gann and Miss Sky used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Alana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man came running in and took me hostage. A man? Joe Dark. He was a serial murderer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of the ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gann's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, and so I opened up the door to have a look, and that's when I saw him. Neil Marshall rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning, Deputy Chief Damon Gann and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gann. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assumed that that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought it was as good as dead. That's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but... Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then the lights went out. It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. Electricity went out? Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? But just then, lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I told the detective about what I saw then. Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? At the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Ask about the picture. Picture that witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago did not contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? We have another half of evidence, and I think that might be it. Stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. So it was kind of a gotcha. It was like a semi-gotcha. It's been a real shock. Even now when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. What were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark, and I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. Pretty sure I was watching them. Reason? Let's take a look. Ripped in half. This part is all I've got. Oh! Got a very bad feeling about this. There we go. Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all of her heart into drawing that picture. And yet, you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that the prosecutor for that case, as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold. This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over. Ah! What's this? What is that? Hey, that's the picture I drew. That's fun. That's fun that there was a clue on the back of the clue. Like, I thought it would be the evidence list. Like, I thought Edgeworth and I had two different halves and we'd combine them, and then I'd be like, but the picture's clearly on my list. Where is it? It existed at one point, but no, it's just on the back of it. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What is the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. Flip the evidence list over and Maya's name is written in blood. Flip. Flip it over and just I was about to say, like, it's like a reference to another game. Like, you flip it over, it says Leon from Danganronpa 2 1. One 11037. What do they mean? What do the numbers mean? Have you played Danganronpa? I haven't played, but I have, you know, I have experienced vicariously through Let's Play. What about 2 or 3? I have not 3. Not 3, 2, yes. And the thing that makes me so upset about 2 is that the game doesn't even give you a chance to fucking punch in the code that is like super important to that game's plot, and I would have punched in Leon. I would have. For some reason Leon sticks out in my brain a whole lot, and I really like Leon and his whole circumstances. And I would have laughed my fucking ass off if the game let you diddle with that keypad and I got it right first try. That evidence list that you were handed 2 years ago is incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. Do you see, Mr. Edgeworth? It's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? Nani? Why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? That's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. That's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible, let me see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. I would have been really happy if there was like a unique sprite for him holding up that exact piece of paper with something on the back of it. It's that thing! What? Sour, please. Yes, thank you, Jerry. That's that thing! That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. It's just bandaged together. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir. Seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture.
What could it be?
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. The picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Think of a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder the guy. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The memory should have still been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? And then the next part of the testimony, yeah. I like that, how some of the presses just kind of roll into the next section of testimony. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright and I was knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me. But when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? After that, I must have fainted. There's clearly a contradiction here. You didn't see the actual murder take place? The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second, and not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. You really need to torture this girl any further? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? This is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? Of course not. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. It's probably on this screen. But I don't know what it would be. That's gotta be something else. Stabbed in the back. I think that might be what the game's getting at, although from this angle, he could get jabbed in the back. Okay. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture What part of this picture? Dude, are you kidding me? What part of this picture? Are you for real, dude? I don't know. I think it's this part here. That's because the drawing stinks. Act of making an innocent girl cry should warrant the death penalty. Guess he means they shouldn't shift the blame to others. Those defenses learned this lesson. Dude. Dude, the part is he didn't get stabbed in the back. What are you talking about? Kniffy? I can't save. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. You can see the tip is broken. Okay. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. Look at the evidence. The tip is broken too on the murder weapon. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. The victim was only stabbed once, and the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. But I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. So what does that mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. And I believe you were annoyed at that. But she was sure she remembered correctly. There's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? A little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. You're saying the investigation really was corrupted? Please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It's my belief that somewhere in this story there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. Doja tell us. Not even 4 minutes into my 14 resub. I didn't know you resubbed to 14. Congratulations, Noah. You get to have a car. I want to play some more 14 too. What are the chances that there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? Emma's mistaken. Broken knives just don't grow on trees. There's no way there was another one. I believe the witness must be mistaken. Flash of lightning burned an unforgettable image in her mind. Mistaken. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't be explained by a simple observational error. Well, that's not what I mean. Well, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that that she's lying. I'm saying that there isn't a broken knife and she's telling the truth. Why isn't that a possibility? Because I'm like at this stage, I'm like 100% certain that the statue in Damon Gant's room is the murder weapon. Emma really did see a broken knife. Are you sure then that you have some information about this other broken knife? Feel free to enlighten us. The real murder weapon. 2 years in the past, right here inside this picture. It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award prosecutor Marshall is holding. Well, that's not quite. Okay. That's a broken knife. You can't kill a man with that. The knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. The knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. I mean, you still wouldn't want to someone try stabbing you with that. I mean, yeah, but like, I don't think you'd die. You'd probably get like bruised or some shit. There's no way this game's like, we gave a prosecutor a real ass knife. I mean, it was broken, but it was a real ass knife. As an award. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. I mean, that happens. I guess, but I guess I just assumed that the award was like way more crummy and made of like I have fucking awards of shit up there on this cabinet, and they're not made of like real ass metal. I mean, the bases, you could probably smack a dude with that, but not like the metal top part, the fancy bit that everyone likes to look at. That can't be. And why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because the King of Prosecutors' award knife was the murder weapon, and the murderer and the victim would be reversed. I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh! But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. What? Mr. Edgeworth, could you show me your evidence list again, please? I knew it. This picture, I'm the one who drew it. You drew that? The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Alright, the banger's back. This time I've been trying so hard to forget, I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Would you please tell us what you've recalled? Oh boy. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the Blue Badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. What?
Objection!
Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. I mean, he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Stop, please. Don't pursue this any further. Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. You can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Hadn't even designed him. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky, we've already come this far. They fixed all the typos. It's too late to turn back. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Please detain the defendant. Please detain the defendant. Let's keep going. That man, I assume you referred to Joe Dark. I think it was him. All I could really see were shadows. Immediately preceded the incident. Also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. Why did you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife, but as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person. What do you mean you think? It all happened so fast and I was in shock, I don't remember everything clearly. What I did was kind of a blur. Miss Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place, with so much happening in a matter of seconds. A little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. he did was very brave. So then what happened next? There's another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. Are you sure about this? See? I even drew a picture of him here. It was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago, and this is all quite verifiable. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I've seen him somewhere before, and now I finally remember. Just when you thought that thing had caused you enough commotion. Where in the room did you see him dancing? I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? You didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all. I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Suppose you have an explanation? Please tell us what the shadow really was. This is the only horny thing I can think of. But it's like not but it's like not in front of a window, so she wouldn't be seeing it was the red badger. But it's not like in front of a window or anything, so Blue badger and Knuckles. Oh my god. The blue badger. This is spray bottle under really convenient lighting. What would it have been? The vase, probably. I'll try it. And if you're wrong, Nick. I hadn't even been jumped up when Emma drew this picture yet. She's certain she sells at the seesaw. It is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Oh. It was the blue badger. This blue badger was in fact this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't, as it stands now. It's just a plain jar. What if we were to change our viewpoint? Gotta show him the correct angle to look at this from. I mean... man, these controls are stinky and smelly. Oh, fuck! Why is it Q and R? I'm not quite sure if it had 3 horns. Blood on the bottom. The great blue looks like a complete Chad. Maybe it fell and drew blood. I'm an idiot, apparently. This perspective puzzle is dicking me. Because it's not matching up exactly. I mean, that gets pretty damn close, but we'll try. This isn't right. Come on, man. Well, at least it's not penalizing. They knew that this puzzle was trash. Show it head on with the blood at the bottom. Well, like this. Yeah, we'll try. I think I already did that. Yeah. I don't know what this game wants. Also, hi, Gart. How's it going? Give me the controls. Alright, man, if you want to diddle with these controls, be my guest. Use H, N, B, and M to fucking rotate this baloney, and Q and R to get it to go. Yeah, baby. The thin bit needs to be the middle hat bit, to which plays Blue Badger. Well, that's the thing, right? Is so, like, I'm saying, like... It's also supposed to be, like... Here, I'm thinking... So, like... No, I wanted to get a little bit closer. I accidentally hit E. That's just about it, though, I think. It's, like, upside down, and then, like, pushed this way, I think, is what it's getting at. Like that. That's a Blue Badger if I ever seen one. There we go. Is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the Blue Badger. Maybe if you're an idiot. No, it can't be! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious Blue Badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that Badger thing was actually just a jar, that doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed? Very well then, please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? I mean, this jar is like... What side of the room is that on? Is that on the... That's on Gant's side. So maybe it's saying that the murder happened slightly somewhere else in the room, if it's meaning location. The murderer I mean, that doesn't really change because... Unless it's getting at something else, then maybe it is the murderer, although I don't think that's the answer here. I think... I have no idea what it's getting at, actually. I'm thinking location. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gantz. The body was found lying near Lana Skye's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it's these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. The struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Skye's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gantz's office. You implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gantz's office to Lana Skye's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. You know what the reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. This is why Lana tried to stop the trial. Too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? The impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. See, this is what I was trying to point out. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. It's Bardiche, actually. It's not a Bardiche, though. Just really wanted to make that joke while Noah was here. Since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have to have been Neil Marshall wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. The perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Skye knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Animation! The future of gaming. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? Do not want. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you'd recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? I'm willing to bet you don't. Don't have evidence? Then we'll have to rely on testimony. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Edgeworth, my boy. Touché, Miss Skye. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. There's still another possibility? Possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah. Ugh. 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 He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. Is in the evidence. Sure. Stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There's only one thing we seek, the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Please show us the piece of evidence. I think it's on the jar. Like, we've noticed some scribbly-doos on there. Something's on there. The game has said the handprint. I mean, it bears Emma Skye's prints. No. A message from the deceased. That's what it's asking for. This is not a dead man's message. Unless... No. There is no backside secret this time. I'm fairly certain it's the jar. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he gonna just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here on the surface of this jar. If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. Looks like someone wiped the blood away. But notice, for some reason the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. There's a line here drawn in blood. These dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. The blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. What kind of message did the victim lead for us? Okay. I'm glad the game's making us do it.
Take that!
What? How? I'm trying to... Hello? Connect the letters. Look at how hard I worked on this. How do I write? E space. Can you click? Oh my god. Got it. How fucking weird. E. Perfect. E. Ina. We could just make an EA Sports joke from here, though. Like, we don't need that much to work with. EA Sports. It's only murder. I don't know. Can't think of anything clever. Present. Defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why I've been thinking about... That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Why you have to be mid? This is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people. He may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. But what does Gant have to do with this? Seaworthy? Oh, here we go. Can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Did I skip something? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess, where we watched an episode of the hit 90s cartoon Recess. Yay! Good to have. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? This is the what, third time? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around all while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Put the fun in funeral. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence log. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. I thought he lost his job. Yeah, wait a second. Well, I guess he doesn't have to be a detective to just get us a book. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? He said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. I guess, okay. I guess I'm in law school again. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. What's up now as the chief prosecutor's sentence? No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. There's got to be something else to this. That's where you're wrong, detective. Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What else is there left to do? Your credibility has been all but ruined with this forged evidence that you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out that she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. And we're gonna expose him, no matter what it takes. Okay. What if he was already dead? Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well... Normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. I'm just saying some locker room talk, man. People are talking smack, Edgy. It's just, you see, everyone's been talking. I made the joke, all right? Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. There's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. And it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. You do realize this is your last chance. You call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... Oh, what the fuck? The real murderer. I wish Phoenix Wright was on this list. I could be like, I call me, Luigi. The real murderer. Gant? Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. Feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, huh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant, and I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? Let's clear up this SL9 incident. You mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There's still some things unaccounted for. Like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry. I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. The witness may now begin his testimony. Whew. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. His hands are clean. Is that when Dark was arrested? He was lying on the floor unconscious. Red. Dead. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything's pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Alright, here we are. The big guns. Neil and I were questioning him that day. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. That's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. To make a long story short, we slipped up. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went into his heart, though. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor? Yes, apparently he hit his head and he was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. That means we found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor. Ugh. That really stabbed the prosecutor? Anyway, as you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're gonna stare at anything, you'd better be staring at that court record. Always the smooth talker. Which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? That can't be the whole truth. Well, I gotta link Gant to the incident. The only thing I can think of is this. Found in Chief Gant's safe. Evidence for something, but what? Bears Emma's fingers. Ooh, the safe? Yeah, right. Prison? She really had nothing to do with the forgery. And how do you explain this? And what's that on it? A handprint? Your explanation, please. I don't know. You tell me, son. My dear Rido, don't you know the second rule of evidence law? Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. How is that rag relevant to this trial? The defense was not prepared. Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving the defense a new chance? Alright, I'll do it this once, but only because you asked, Udgy. Okay. Interesting. Where would we have gotten a knife tip? Part of the jar was also in the safe, right? Yeah? You could try the jar.
Objection!
You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that claim is a claim you cannot back up. I actually forgot that's where we found that shard. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered at your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier, that probably would have worked also, was actually found inside your desk. You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. What's the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admitted to it then, huh? That you were involved in the forgery? Or do you mean you? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Rido?
Objection!
However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. In light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Let's see, what was it now? Jar fragments and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. You can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. Do you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Udgy. In return, though, That place, right? Drugs.
Hold it!
I appreciate it if you did stop making these ridiculous allegations. Blah, 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 blah. You do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped. What are you saying? You can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it later. What else? I'm talking about when Rido's prints are found. If they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. That place is the pool. Yeah, probably. Can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
Objection!
If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, Rido. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. Are you saying that this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced.
Objection!
So wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility. So long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Come now, Rido. Think about it. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? Not sure I care for the word murder here. In the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Oh, how do you see it? Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Kent? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all of this. I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have. Chief of Police. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That, in and of itself, is sufficient motive. Ha ha ha! That is a good one. Do you really think I'm that incompetent? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little bit. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means, as Edgeworth points in Phoenix Wright's direction, come on, waggle that finger. Damn it. I was gonna say, like, his fingernail disappears. I only just now realized it. As if you didn't do it for yourself, you did it for somebody else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know be better than that. Only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There. It's out in the open now. Would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Okay, dude. Nothing in it for you. The only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? You think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. I mean, it's getting me to be like, yo, he helped out Lana, so then she'd be in his pocket, so then he could basically do whatever he wanted, right? Is that what it's getting at? You might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then, who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence?
Take that!
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. How do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. How would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. You mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive, to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. Do you have any proof of this, that I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if somebody has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just how do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. This is an affront to the highest-ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the Chief of Police of blackmail and murder. That's impossible. Impossible. I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright, that the Chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. That Chief Gant got to the murder. That ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. I don't remember. There was something I remember. There was something that was weird. I don't remember what it was though. Oh, it was the ID card record, right? I think this might be what they're talking about. Yeah, his ID being used at our speculated time of death.
Take that!
This is the ID card list. The one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7 times. There's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7 times. Same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. And now we're on to something. What do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. Yeah, well, I thought the joke was his PIN number was 0001 because he is number 1. But yes, we could also make that joke. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations, and I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do at the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you on that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I didn't see him in ages.
Objection!
Days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you'd just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt.
Objection!
This never happens with Phoenix Wright, dude. It says like, oh, we're here to determine if somebody's guilty. And then Phoenix Wright is like, well, guess what, Judge? You were the killer this whole time. How was the judge not figured this out? No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, we need to determine one thing: what transpired during that meeting. In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Bro. Evidence transferal? Wouldn't that be at the beginning of the record? Oh. That could be it.
Take that!
Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of that report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it, and how do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to transfer the evidence out. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant, and then you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way that the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on. Let me guess what you're gonna say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort.
Objection!
Sorry, that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. And yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. This game is very formulaic, but goddamn, is it satisfying seeing the big evil people get angry. Right? It's good. It's a lot of reading, and that makes me upsetty sometimes because sometimes I just fuck. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office to dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. Everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Do you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Left all the evidence you need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue that just kept taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. Chief can't use this. Useless piece of evidence? The screwdriver?
Take that!
This is how I moved Detective Goodman's body. A screwdriver? What does that have to do with this case? Think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... God! I was asked to go. My chief can't know this. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. Oh, okay. I thought they were for some reason I thought that there was like a mystery thing that the screwdriver was used for, but like I forgot that that they were anyways, I forgot that Edgeworth was at the place that he needed to be in order to get that done. The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it was obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. Transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal in the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This is not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken away from the trunk. I believe your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto. I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. The cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're gonna just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? If you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. I'm sensing a debate. You think I had Lana dispose of the body? Then show your proof and get it over with. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Do you have any concrete proof? Did Chief Gant murder Detective Goodman and made Miss Guy dispose of his body? I don't like that he's asking for it. Although... Any concrete proof? Rubber glove. What do we need this for? Used it to prove Goodman's locker was already open. That's right. What was the parking stub for? So the parking stub. So all this evidence here, I'll go over this I'll go over this real quick. So we have Goodman's ID found at the scene of the crime where we thought Goodman died, which was in the parking lot. The King of Prosecutors trophy was found there, and we used that to be like, but it's different from how it was a couple of years ago. Edgeworth's knife, murder, the supposed murder weapon. It was actually, I think it was actually this knife from the evidence room. Then there's the parking stub. The parking stub was to say Mr. Edgeworth parked in the parking garage at around the time that, again, people thought the murder happened. It was actually earlier. Blue Badger is the Blue Badger. Autopsy report is the autopsy report. The Goodman's note we had to flip upside down so it says SL9. Lana's cell phone number. Yeah, so I think what it's getting at is I think it's wanting us to present this, but I have an idea of what this is. I think what this is so I don't think we know what it is exactly yet, but I think it's supposed to be part of this guy's like vest. And I think that's the point. I don't know. It could be like Gant's suit, but it looks kind of thick, you know? And I think the game from earlier when I tried to present this and it's like, but this has no bearing on the current case. And right now, I think it's trying to get me to give him this. Be like, but this was in your locker. It like ties you to whatever. But I don't like it. I don't like it. I did save, so I can afford to do a risky biz new. I do not have proof. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See ya, G. In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, righto? Seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. I'll leave the rest to you. Okay, he just scoots away. The front to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency.
Objection!
Oh, hello? Hey, Luck, huh? Maybe we should have a word with her. Okay, dude. What do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still somebody else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Does such a witness exist? I guess that was the right move to make. I guess Gant was trying to debate us.
Take that!
The defendant? Miss Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? Prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. Hold on. Chief Gant? I thought you were gonna eat. Listen good, Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. This ain't good. Of course you'd never support such an outrageous claim anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. Hi, I've got a lunch date to meet. Again. I'm gonna click on this YouTube link, and I'm gonna get gnomed, and I'm gonna be really upsetting. I'm gonna mute my desktop audio. When will you learn? That was a good video, thank you, Noah. Seeing that roller coaster of facial expressions with no reference audio is an experience. If there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief. He's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it that he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair that he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? There are certain risks to be considered. These actions have consequences. What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too? Hey, you're fine.
When I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. I'm sorry for what I said before. It was the truth. You know, it's funny, I almost feel somehow relieved. Now I finally know what really happened. I think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man, and she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said he changed. She changed. But perhaps it was easier that way for her. How do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. Forced herself to do anything and everything that the chief told her to do. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Don't go blaming yourself now. I'm sure it's my husband. Me too, dude. Actually, if I had to pick a fantasy man to be my husbando, it'd be Beowulf from Skullgirls. You can't fool my memory. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. You better get back. It's time for the final act. Beowulf is also my husband. He's a good man. Why don't you wait? I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. I'm gonna save somewhere else. Because I distinctly remember an achievement that I might need to grab from that sequence if it's what I think it is. I'm eating potato chips with chopsticks. Dude, nice. Hey, Noah, I have a question while I've got you. How long is Theo here? Is he still here? How much time do I have? He leaves sometime in June. And it's May. I had to think about that one. Okay, that gives me a little bit of time. I don't think he even knows exactly when. Well, that's fine. I've got a little bit of time to arrange a present for him. Will the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, please take the stand? You are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done over these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. People keep looking through the glass on the door in my practice room while I'm playing. Now, how does that make you feel? My practice room isn't a viewing gallery. You could put something funny on the window. Bring like a big ass poster just for this occasion. Like a gnome. Everything hinges on your testimony. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convinced, or convicted. I'm an idiot. It had nothing to do with Emma. Sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks like that, she's not telling the truth. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. There's no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Yeah. Camera? Hello? Hi. And. There we go. How many years would you work with him? Ever since I made senior detective. I was 24 then, so that would be about 5 years. I want the lawyer lady from Wired to play Phoenix Wright. I don't know who you're talking about, but I'm sure that would be fun. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. Damon Gant was a respectable detective. That's why there's no truth to this blackmail theory. But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. My nose is really itchy today. A series on Wired's YouTube channel called Technique Critique. They bring in experts from different fields to critique film and television. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day, and I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. That's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself? Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken Prosecutor Award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. That is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. It was lying on the floor a little distance away. Probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, and then moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound, and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I'd ask for the sake of the others. Okay, so this is sister edition of the live stream. That's what the emergency was. So I don't know what question to ask. I think we're gonna ask, why did she move the body? Oh yeah, I have one of those. Thanks, Noah. Hi, Cass. It's Cass with a K, not a C. It's K, Cass. Wrong direction.
Is that the right direction?
Oh, whatever. Anyway, the point is, hi, everyone's here. Boyfriend is here.
Oh.
I miss Cass too. Cass too. Not you, Cass. When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? Oh, Griffin too. Wit's there.
Oh, Wit.
Yeah.
We love
It was where he deduced it. Where he deduced it was by Chief Kent's desk. The body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body. Okay, so now it's on the thing. The pieces of the jar that scattered during the events threatened my plan. Well, this is Phoenix, right? Let's hit this. That wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. When you first found the body, the jar was already... It had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. What's up? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed, but I have a feeling that there's more to it than that. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. I committed this fabrication completely alone. I think what it's getting at is, how long is this track loop? It's not very long. I think it's getting at, the name was written on the jar in multiple pieces, so it couldn't have been broken at this time. Yeah. I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. The forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain, and even so I'm compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. The prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not have yet been broken before he died. Elaborate. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Do you want to?
Griffin can be the judge.
Do you want to do it? You want to be active participants in this?
Order!
This is live stream right now?
Yeah, we're live, baby.
Oh, we're gonna fuck this all up.
We're live, baby, for 7 people. 7 whole people.
The
I'm so popular to have 7 people watching me.
stakes are low.
This
We're
yeah.
broadcasting right from Oklahoma City.
Order!
Your Honor, it would appear.
You guys want to scoot in closer here?
Yeah, but you gotta keep it clicking for me though, Revan.
We have a microphone, right?
Your Honor, it would appear. More information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical?
It's just Griffin the whole time now.
Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed.
What?
Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth.
Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. Huh?
add like Mario noises in there. Huh?
I immediately noticed the jar. The blood traces on the jar.
There you go.
But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time.
Another
She
one.
didn't think the Dark was the real murderer?
That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Bam!
Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
This is amazing content. So now I have to like cycle through her statements, and then like I can ask for more information.
But why wouldn't you?
I'll start here because I have a feeling that this is the one that I'm supposed to look at.
But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in the office.
Good point. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me.
Even I carry that little version of Uno wherever I go.
I never miss anything. I got every last piece.
Hi, Zeb. My sister's here, and also Griffin.
Hey, hello!
Who does that?
More contradictions. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you.
Yeah, I agree with Dogtails.
She's
who
not
just
doing this
fucking
the right
carries
way.
Luminol. Fucking weird. It's a good point.
She's the real criminal.
It's a good point.
I think I find
There's one final
Phoenix is our Mr. Lawyer man.
that
Yeah, that's who we are.
What is it?
Let's see.
Blood traces on the jar? Is it here?
The jar was on sale to begin with.
Well, and she's like wandering around.
So,
Fucking nice.
well, what I'm trying to get at is, but you guys don't know this because you weren't here for this whole thing.
But we're smart.
One piece of the jar was found somewhere else. So I don't know. I'll see if this works.
Objection!
Yeah. Here we go.
Objection!
Miss Sky, I believe the jar conceals a truth even you weren't aware of.
What?
We found the final piece of the jar in Chief Gant's safe.
In the chief's safe? But how?
I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about the final piece. There was still blood on it.
But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them.
Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up at the scene. Chief Gant got there before you.
But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
I'm afraid that's unlikely.
Don't worry. The objection is like the only voice part of this game.
You're the one.
The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective.
That will maybe, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe it? Have you forgotten, Your Honor?
This is the prosecutor.
When this witness arrived at the scene, the jaw was already broken.
Perfect.
Oh, that.
There was no way a name could have been written on a shattered jaw. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness.
I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar?
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the fact for 2 years?
Huh?
Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that?
Nah. No.
Now what happens?
Wait, I'm not the one on trial here.
Damon Grant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hit one of the broken pieces.
Like a nose.
Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence.
But
Yeah.
why would Chief Gant do that?
In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear?
What happened afterwards?
Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. To determine to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her aid, Gant helped create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the chief's puppet.
No. I did it on my own.
Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake.
No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients.
Foul lies.
Lots of sweat.
My own client. That's you.
I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth.
Wait a minute.
Smack down Gant's trap.
Is something wrong, Mr. Wright?
Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, right?
You were right up in this microphone.
So do you tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
Right?
Miss Skye, please testify once more.
But
If evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of the prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I don't remember knocking on Mr. Marshall.
Miss Skye, if you will.
I can't.
There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. The cross-examination may not change a thing. However, if there's a possibility it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well.
Well, now it's just Tim Allen noises.
I'll testify about what I really saw. All right. The witness may testify more for the final time. Actual crimes.
There we go.
Getting into deep cuts here.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor's sword?
You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof.
Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
What? To me?
It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed.
But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture.
Lana,
You gonna speak up?
I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, Rod. I seem to remember getting something like that from her. Let's check the evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere.
Evidence law.
This guy.
That's a cute chicken.
Very nice chicken. Ooh.
Hey, there's a picture here.
That's the attorney guy.
Oh, hey, there's a picture here. Thanks, Revan.
Here we go.
Pretty gross.
Oh my. This is the actual crime scene? No other detective saw the crime scene like this.
Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything.
Here we go.
But, Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest, could that be?
The cloth we found in Mr. and Chief Gant's safe. Just cut me off. Sorry, guys. What's this?
This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth, if it had fingerprints on it, whatever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
What? Those fingerprints. They're yours, Emma.
Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination.
Maybe don't hit the desk. That'd probably be really loud considering it's connected right to it.
What he did?
So as long as you tell me the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer.
Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Oh.
It's a 10.
It's
Is that what that means? Pizza time? No, we got this guy.
Come now, Chief.
Oh, pound 2112.
Sorry, y'all. Keep rolling.
Alright, we'll do it live.
This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen.
Tell it the bad
Gant. Chief Gant. What? Now you want to make us out of the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. Objection!
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
What?
You already declined to testify.
That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be the risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax. Enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your neck. So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements.
What do you mean?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean? Oh, here you go. You gotta voice your character again. You're up.
This live stream is brought to you by Papa John's.
I thought you already did that part.
Now this one's you.
Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence?
No, I don't. But someone does.
Someone?
So, what's your excuse? Right, who? Ah! What have you been keeping quiet about it? Do you have something to show us? right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence leaves no room.
Is this true, Mr. Wright?
If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma sure to be the murderer.
Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiry.
What do I do now? I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Did I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows him really cute kill Prosecutor Marshall?
What are you gonna do? Or just voice act.
This is on you, my dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no.
Why? Is he like having sex
Your
with
Honor,
her?
No.
I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie.
Chief Gant?
You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it.
What are you talking about, Chief Gant?
Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture.
This is just the Griffin show now.
See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for
It
some
looks
reason.
like a part of it's been cut out for some reason.
I mean, you mean you have this in your safe?
What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is gonna be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Yes.
Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened.
What? You mean you admit to it?
I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could just use the situation to control Lana.
So you really were manipulating her?
I knew Lana. I made it look like I could lay blame with the sister. Then when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid.
So you assisted Miss Sky?
I told him to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I used that evidence to get Joe Doc convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe?
But why?
For insurance, of course. Insurance? Uh-huh. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder the girl committed.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence?
What do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make the police. I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment?
With the nose on it?
I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. Objection! But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message in this jar too? Ho 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 ho! Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Rhino. Cough it up already. I know you have it.
What are you aiming for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth that cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do it all that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Rhino. You should have shown it them before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. It's getting real up in here.
Oh boy, I have no idea.
Show it. Show it.
Number
Why do you
4.
care what happens to Emma?
Because she didn't commit the murder.
Who did? How do you know who did?
And
Because it had to be Gant,
yeah,
yeah.
because he's super duper evil.
As long as I
Look
don't
at-
mess up here, victory is mine.
I'll do it. I'll fall into this.
Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now.
All right, then, let's see this evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to, but
Take that.
Ha! Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut this piece of it. You personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. At last, you finally brought it out into the open.
There's a handprint on this piece of cloth.
Your Honor, this prosecution requests that immediately be sent to the lab for analysis. That handprint on the leather. This must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly.
You mean?
It could not have been forged. It must be authentic and conclusive evidence. You're as slow in the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Rido had all this time to present the evidence. And yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that?
But Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they?
Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted.
The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is...
Ooh.
Emma? Emma Sky?
What? They're mine?
I'm sorry, Emma.
But why? Why don't you tell me?
Ho, 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 ho! You're really something, Rado.
You knew this girl did it all along.
Oh, you knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me.
going to the
So
deep
it's
south for
true.
this one.
Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Sky, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't.
Miss Sky, it's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it's over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. My bad. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy.
I mean, he kind of deserves it, though.
What's the matter? Can't catch your tongue? Aren't you gonna tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh? And what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall?
What?
Chief Gamp, you were absolutely right. This piece of cloth... Jesus. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
It was Emma Skye, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. This is getting real.
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict?
Chief Cat, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth.
I'm gonna presume it's the picture because we just got that.
All right, Room, bring it
Oh,
home.
yeah,
Bring it home.
Look at that. Blood's going over the, like, as if he already cut it away.
Ah.
Hell yeah.
And what exactly is this supposed to be?
There we go.
Lots of eyebrow twitching.
This is the picture Miss Skye took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes. His shirt is showing underneath.
It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it.
Arrgh! Since Emma Skye's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No! This is nonsense! Now then, Chief Cat, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground when he was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Skye picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him in the armor's sword? Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that broke on purpose to leave behind a clue. And make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember when you admitted only moments ago that you personally cut this bloodless piece out of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Though the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you weren't the actual murderer. I'm gonna wake your parents up. It's finally all over.
This is why this is the farthest room away from them.
Yeah.
Do you like shape-shifting?
Who can object to that? Oh, that was close, Ryder. You almost had me.
He's sweating.
Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute all your allegations.
What do you mean you refute his allegations?
You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence.
Order! Order! What nonsense is this?
Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Urgy. Earlier, old Rido here concealed that piece of cloth.
Is this
So
a
then-
flashback?
What's your excuse, Rido?
Just like 2 seconds ago, yeah.
You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence.
At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
But that's not fair.
Did you actually think you could beat best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. Just
I'm
confused.
afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth?
True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Well, Mr. Wright?
Seems, at last, time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I think you did.
I admit, I refused to present it at one point. Ah, so the evidence is illegal! No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved in presenting evidence. No, Aji, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward you can't really believe. There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not?
Very well. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
This is the hard part.
Well, you better figure it out.
Better figure this out.
Pressure.
Yeah.
You better pull that
Yeah, the hard part's all on Roman right here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now I have to play the game.
Well, I don't even know what's going on because I was paying
The Book of Law. You know, you're probably right. If only somebody wrote a book about how to legally produce evidence.
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have the approval of the police department.
Thanks, guys.
Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at this time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and... Sorry, but can you recall when this picture was presented?
That was shown only a few moments ago.
No! He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, damn Grant. Gant. You yourself confess to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes.
You going to bed with?
No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth.
Bye, Wit.
Good night, Whit. The only person that
Night.
can cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you! I knew I should have gotten rid of him.
There's a cowboy in this game too.
There's good for nothing scum. For 2 years, been super trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convicted Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right.
If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth.
There you go. You got it right.
Please, you've got to help me.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jack Marshall knew no one to win. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room, and all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman?
Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered.
He opened this evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said,
Not too late. I'm gonna hand all this over to Marshall.
well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling he came to see me, but I never thought he were going to be a SL9. That's when I saw it. The accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint. Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. Huh, I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car?
It's been a really low level.
I'm sorry. I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. Oh, shit. I broke the trunk. But what's the big deal? You make a lot more than this detectives ever will. Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker? I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So you left the jar, fragments, and the glove? Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than the committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They did their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. Huh? One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
He's dying.
Huh?
All the characters he picked have a lot more to say.
Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy.
What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
Mm. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person.
Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry. You'll be fine. Now, you have Rado here.
And Worthy.
Oh, and Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. Ha, ha, ha. There are two things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Guy, you no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Guy. I couldn't get you out of all of your trouble.
My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright.
Miss Guy.
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you.
It was nothing. Liar.
I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth.
Stop it. I only did my job.
In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Skye. Yes, Your Honor? You are an innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye.
Get ready. The big one. Both of you guys.
Not guilty.
Yeah?
That is all. This court is adjourned. Woo!
She did it. Good job, Lana.
February 25th, 5:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2.
At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended.
I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you.
2-second flashback.
I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well.
No, I'm upset he isn't here.
You know, I did my best too. What? London didn't say a single word to me.
How she would spend the whole time.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am.
Oh, Gumshoe.
I'll come back later.
I'll come back later.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around all day while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
I think he needs like a hard-boiled, like Humphrey Bogart voice. Hey, lighten up, pals. You know?
You want me to go like Boston?
Yeah.
Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh, I'm walking here.
Are you here
Walk
because
it in.
Are you here because of my sister again?
Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone.
His accent is slipping very quickly.
Lana?
Should you be doing that? Oh, that's not me.
Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know.
Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology.
It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it.
That day 2 years ago. Was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess.
Sis?
I asked Aunt to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the last 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew.
But sis, you really doing it for me?
No.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day. And hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you.
Sis,
I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry.
but sis, you didn't have to apologize. I'm happy now.
You're happy?
Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have.
Oh, Emma. Emma!
Sweet moment. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. We must make up for our mistakes. Why must we make our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And just from there, we can move forward to a brighter future. At least that's what I felt, watching the two sisters make up.
Mr. Wright? Mr. Gumshoe?
Me?
Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here.
Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Spine gumshoe.
Right, well, I'll be going now.
Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened.
Uh,
We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you.
It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realized today that I can't correct my mistakes.
Now he's British too.
Mr. Edgeworth.
It's spreading.
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right.
Another flashback.
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day, you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring him down once you try going alone. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I needed a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth? Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. The thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue as a prosecutor.
Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake.
Huh?
You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial.
We're gonna need a flashback.
You weren't alone.
It's coming.
You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh?
Huh? What? Yeah. What is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lotta's talking about.
Evidence, huh? Oh. Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own.
This is the hardest part of the game because this one doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but if you get it wrong, you don't get a chance to go back and fix it.
I've used
Unless you like
save
save.
my character.
Well, why don't you save?
All right, guys. What do we do?
Pick the thing with the K on it, because K for Cassie.
I do actually think it's this thing. Maybe? We'll cycle through everything again and we'll see what happens. If anyone gets an idea. Actually, it would have been the complete list, right? Yeah.
Oh, he says Edgeworth gave you the screwdriver.
And the list. I'm thinking it's the list. The list, yeah. It's literally two halves that we found separately.
Take that! That's the picture I drew. Our counteract began with this. You had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth.
It's more Tim Allen.
It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
To go.
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do. Oh, well, whatever you do. Just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, Mr. Wright. But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell.
You get the voice back for just a little bit after making the noise.
I'd better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn, and a lot of catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you.
Another chicken book.
Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will.
It's important that she's smiling.
And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith.
My expensive headset.
Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. I don't remember how to do a Boston accent. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this.
What? I thought you said it was okay.
Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story.
Huh?
Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either.
Huh?
Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side.
Yeah, well, you see. Mr. Wright here's the one who should be footing the bill.
Huh? Huh?
What, you think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
Thank you, Mr. Rock. You're the best.
I suddenly feel like I want to scream.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Objection!
There we go. We did it. That was it. That's the game.
Oh, we did it.
Yay, pizza!
Pizza.
Pizza time. Ow.
I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of me.
You could
I
just-
hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office.
You could just let this scroll.
Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma.
This game.
Dun, 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 dun.
Roast pizza.
And another dessert pizza, actually. Time for Roman's thoughts on the game. I mean, I still have 2 other games to go that are like really similar to this, right? Could I just like wait on this, you think? Yeah, but what are your thoughts on the first game? Okay. The bonus case is definitely my favorite. Although it is a little long-winded, because like even Cass, well, like, oh yeah, I was gonna say even Cass, who like just got here, was making fun of like the flashbacks of 2 seconds ago, and they kind of just started happening, but it's a little long-winded. But it's probably my favorite, partly because it's so long. There's just so much to keep track of. Might be the longest case of the whole series. That's actually pretty incredible. But I like it a lot, partially because it's so long, because you have to just keep track of so much stuff and remember key parts of stuff. I kind of wish that either older evidence would be more useful later. He died. Older evidence would be more useful, or they would just remove it altogether like they did with previous cases.
Because even though I had a whole lot of evidence in my belt, I never really felt overwhelmed because the game only uses it in like chunks. Except for the one time where we had to present older evidence in the form of... What was the old evidence that we just had to present?
The clock cut
No,
picture.
The list. Well, no, not the list. It was a little bit before then. Before the picture, I don't remember. Damn. To present the screwdriver. That's it, the screwdriver.
I like this.
This is Phoenix Wright. Specifically, this is actually a Nintendo DS game. This is the HD re-release of the first 3 games. So if you have a DS, you can play it. Or a computer, I guess. I like it. The only thing I don't like about it is just like the nature of the game means I have to read a whole lot, and I just feel like a goober reading for like 3 hours, which thanks guys for helping me with that. But like I said, that's just like the nature of the game being, only 2 more games to go through like this. I don't know what I'm gonna, like, I could stream for more after this, I just don't know what I'd do. You guys wanna play Humongous Entertainment games?
Yeah.
We could do that.
Can I play Fred?
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I don't have that much to talk about. I like the only.
That Nixon?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. The only thing that really disappoints me is stuff like, I wish the music was redone. I wish some of the sprites were better in the HD remake. Like, honestly, the only real disappointments come from, like, I wish the HD remake did more. And that's about it. Music is fine. Yeah, I mean, I like the classic music. Although it would have been nice to hear more of what they could have done with it, I think, because I like the main menu music, which is like redone. They changed the music for the iOS version and ruined it. Okay. All right, you got me. I'll concede on that point. This guy was in the 2nd case, and this is the 5th case, by the way. So I think everyone's just making their one-time like cameo reappearance. I guess my other complaint is that investigating sometimes feels a little slow. Because the game won't let you go to certain parts and investigate certain things until you go somewhere else and do something else. We got stuck a couple times because I didn't talk to somebody with the exact piece of evidence that I needed to show them or whatever, and I didn't get something, and the game wouldn't let me move forward, and it got a little tiring.
Sounds like
A little bit, yeah. There we go. The investigation's massively improved later. That's good. I think the only thing is that the investigations were pretty fucking slow. Courtroom proceedings were fun. I don't know, the characters and dialogue were great. What more could you ask for in a visual novel / puzzle game? And the other thing I was looking at was, let's hit continue and go back to where I saved earlier, because I think this is where I was getting trapped. Let's see. Yeah. You shouldn't have presented that. By presenting that, you tied Emma Sky to Neil Marshall's death. Appears we have our killer. Yeah, it was a trap. That's fun, actually. Well, no, I like the idea of the trap because this is the first time something that's like that's ever happened. Which is also something that makes this last case super interesting. Is none of the criminals ever go like, "All right, then, dude, show me the evidence. What you got?" And then and then end up making you lose. It's fine in this game because I have the ability to save. Although, when the game originally was, I think when the game was originally released on the DS, you couldn't save in the middle of trials. So if you got by that trick, you would have to start at the very start of the trial again and move forward from there and just like skip over everything. Right? You could save in the middle of trials. Okay. And I'm wrong. In which case, it's fine. Either way. Just not during questions, only when there's normal dialogue on screen. That is a friend of mine named Jerry, lives in Dell City. We used to be on a... How do you say? We used to have a competitive video game team. Super low level. But yeah. Okay. Let's exit out of this and screw it, we'll keep the title. So, what humongous entertainment game are we playing?
Crayfish Maze.
The maze one? Don't do that one. We could do that one. I have the maze game.
Pajama Sam's fun.
Pajama Sam. But that was last year.
Oh.
Putt putt.
I do, what's the bear one?
Fatty Bear.
Fatty Bear.
We haven't done Fatty Bear. That's a good one.
Love Fatty Bear.
And we'll install it in 6 seconds.
Like Fatty Bear.
Alright, let's change the game to
You ready to be a real fat bear?
Fatty Bear's birthday surprise.
I kind of can't wait.
By the time you finish the Ace Attorney trilogy, it'll be time to retire and play a game where you play an ex-lawyer. Judgment. Oh boy, actually. Dude, Fatty Bear's birthday surprise. What? I have never seen this before. Game capture. This should be it. There we go. Ah, it's not capturing anymore. Because it's changed from Scum VM to this. Let's also turn the game
Good
on.
night, Kayla.
Wow.
Good night, Dad.
Tomorrow's my birthday, and Mom and Dad
Yeah,
did have
it's
a
real
big
loud.
surprise for me. Good night, Fatty Bear. You be good. I love you, Fatty Bear.
Clark. I'm trying to fix it.
There's a lot of work to do before Kayla wakes up. I want to make her a big, beautiful birthday cake. Oh, will she ever be surprised?
I better get busy too. I've got a lot of decorating to do. I'm even going to make Kayla a happy birthday sign for her bulletin board.
Oh, Gretchen, that sounds wonderful. I need to go to the kitchen and make Kayla's birthday cake.
Fatty Bear, would you like some help making the birthday cake? I'm a heck of
There
a
we go.
cleaner-upper.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Matilda Rabbit.
Wow, it's
that
still
would be
low.
nice.
Okay, there we go. That is manageable. Okay, now I'm gonna restart. That was good. Now we're gonna restart the thing so people can watch the opening. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Now it's getting captured. It's like super delayed.
Good night, Kayla.
Good night, Dad.
Okay.
Tomorrow's my birthday, and Mom and Dad did have a big surprise for me.
All right,
Good
you're the live
night,
streamer now.
Fatty Bear. You be
Because I'm gonna go find some
good.
food.
I love you, Fatty Bear.
There's a lot of work to do before Kayla wakes up. I want to make her a big, beautiful birthday cake. Oh, will she ever be surprised?
Pretty good. So
I better get busy too. I've got a lot of decorating to do. I'm even going to make Kayla a happy birthday sign for her bulletin board.
Oh, Gretchen,
The best room.
that sounds wonderful. I need to go to the kitchen and make Kayla's birthday cake.
Fatty Bear, would you like some help making the birthday cake? I'm a heck of a cleaner-upper.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Matilda Rabbit. That would be nice.
Okay, I thought she was gonna help me, but she left. So I'm gonna pick up this lettuce because it seems good in a cake. And I guess the prettier it is, the better it tastes. So let's throw a mustache on it. Sexiest piece of lettuce I've ever seen. Get on out. What time is it?
hurry, all of you! There's so very, very much to do.
it does taste as good as it looks. Okay, she's
I'm
taking
making the
notes.
lettuce for the happy birthday sign. Kayla will just love this.
Alright, well, Kayla's weird. Alright, Kayla's room. See what that guy does. Alright, that's weird. Head into there. Different bedroom. Definitely gonna be cake
Nothing in
stuff
there.
here. Uh-oh. Get on the computer. Maybe he'll play some humongous entertainment games. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm getting out of here 'cause it's getting scary. Alright, let's try that one.
That's the grown-ups' room. I'd better be quiet.
Uh-oh.
Achoo to you,
Tissues
too.
next to the bed. Spooky. Yeah, I'm out of there.
Thank you, Mousie. That mouse is too quick for me. The door is locked.
Game is stressful. Okay, so maybe we should take a bath. No, I guess not.
This is the way we brush your teeth to make them sparkle clean and neat. This is the way we brush your teeth so early in the morning.
Seems like it's the middle of the night, so...
I wonder where this goes. Here goes nothing.
Oh, shit. I didn't know we were gonna go in.
Look out below. Hey, I found the garage door opener. Now I can get in the garage.
Didn't know we were trying to. Great news. Okay, so that seemed to do nothing. I'm still not clear on what we're supposed to be doing. I guess just making a cake, so I assume we need pumpkin for that. Maybe we get some carrots? Nick's gonna give me a clue.
A mixing bowl. This will come in handy for the cake.
Yeah, we need unidentified seeds for this cook. I think it's a seed cake. Alright, bowling is definitely important. Are you kidding me? I lined that up perfectly. Pick up the spoon. Oh, really? It's not really my fault because Fatty Bear's form is like shit. He's like jumping. Okay, so that's. I got a spare. I don't know.
Pretty good.
I don't know why I'm doing this. I just assume it's important. Is it? Do I need to be doing
I'm
this?
fairly certain you don't need to bowl.
Yeah, I'm in charge.
She's
which
the live streamer now.
is obviously a good decision.
No, this is a terrible decision for Rogue's live stream.
I was about to say, the chat seems very excited
Okay, but why are we
You
keeping?
did it.
Why are we keeping score in his pockets though?
Well, where else are they gonna put it?
I don't know. On
So you're pro now.
on paper? I guess I haven't found paper yet, so I don't know if that would change things later, but...
Have your money right now.
Uh-oh. Okay, someone says I can
7
get
cents
chickens
split.
if I win.
That's a joke to another. We had the bowl on another live stream.
Uh-oh. Okay, that was bad.
Predicted.
That's a bad bowl.
Oh no.
Okay, that pin definitely should have knocked over other pins if physics was real in this world. I think chickens would be delicious in this cake, though. Yeah, where do you think you're going, Roman? Oh, pull up the spare at the end? Okay, so clearly this is not scored like bowling because otherwise I'd have to roll again. Okay, so... I know. Take me off.
Here I go.
Go for a quick ride. And head upstairs.
A telescope. Well, if it isn't my little friend
Oh,
Putt-Putt.
Putt-Putt's there.
Nice cameo.
It's a good cameo, but again, I don't know what this has to do with cake. I'm not
I
sure.
wonder what Putt-Putt's doing on the moon.
Talk to a telescope.
Okay, so pour in a little tea.
Oh,
I'm out of here. Maybe I'll figure out like some hints about what's next.
You like steep a chicken in your tea? Really good.
This looks like the place to bake Kayla's birthday cake.
Huh?
He comes in through the dog door.
Well, he's, you know. Uh-oh. Okay, here's the bunny. Bunny said she'd help me.
Hi, Fatty Bear.
Alright.
I'm here to help with the cake.
I don't
Thank you,
appreciate her
Matilda
calling me
Rabbit.
fat, but
I
alright.
do believe there's something in my pocket I need for the cake. I should
Okay.
leave it on the counter.
Oh, yeah, he should leave that mixing bowl on the counter. Let's open the present. Because I'm baking a cake, so
I wonder
deserve
what's in
something for
Kayla's
me.
present.
Oh, you got a dog.
Goodness
Great,
gracious.
just what I needed.
There goes Kayla's birthday present.
Bake it in the
Oh,
cake!
no. Look what she's done to the ribbon.
I dare say that puppy is a
I don't
scamp.
like any flavor.
I guess I better
puppy
go
is a
find the
scamp.
puppy.
I don't really want
I hope I can find a new ribbon to put on the puppy's
Are
box.
you hearing other people?
Good thinking, Fatty
That's what
Bear.
he's saying.
Oh.
The thing just said, "Good thinking, Fatty Bear," and I said, "Let's open the fridge and get to work on this cake."
I need this milk for the cake. Eggs.
milk for the
I need
cake?
2 of those for the cake.
Eggs. I'm
One
guessing
stick
some
of butter. I'll take that for the
Throw a
cake.
fucking bone in there, too.
Yeah, grab the bone
It's
for
a
the
bone.
dog.
You never know when I might
Charlie
be.
Brown's
Yuck.
bowl.
Leftovers
No.
again.
Okay. What's in here? You. Okay, I'm out of here.
I do believe there are some things in my pocket I need for the cake. I should leave them on the counter.
Okay, now we're gonna put more crap on the counter. Check out that teapot. Do a little mopping. I thought the bunny was gonna do the cleaning. I'm not really signed up for that.
I don't see any sugar in here.
Right.
Vanilla. I need that for the cake.
The milk
Baking
is gonna
powder.
be fine
This
at
will
room
help my cake
temperature.
rise.
It's not real milk. It's obviously almond milk.
I'll definitely
vegan
need
cake.
chocolate chips for a chocolatey chip cake.
Chocolate chips for a chocolatey chip
Hey,
cake?
you can't take my chocolate chips.
You want sardines in the cake? Well, we're already gonna put a dog
You
and
come back
chickens
here.
in the cake.
Oh, my poor bare bottom.
His poor bare bottom.
Oh,
He should
gracious.
put some pants on.
Uh-oh.
This is a really long chase sequence.
You left the chocolate
You ready
chips
to
in the
jump in on
attic.
this?
Oh, my. Now,
Or you
how
wanna
can
hang
I
out
get
for a
in
bit?
I
there?
have a sandwich to eat.
All right. Well, okay. So he went in the mouse door. I
The
guess?
door is locked.
Door's locked. Oh, shut. We didn't pick up that cheese from downstairs. Why didn't Nicholas tell me that's what I needed to do? I expect comments in this chat telling me exactly what I need to do and when. Because I'm not a mind reader here, Nicholas.
At least you have goals.
I know, and I'm a little babby. A quick song.
Push the dog button. Makes the song better.
That was dedicated to you, Nicholas.
Now play the piano.
Play the piano.
Better song now.
That's a remix. I gotta get out of here. Okay. Uh-oh, I gotta get out of here.
Hi, honey. I'll be a little late because I'm
Hi,
picking up
honey.
Kayla's
I'll be a
present
little
at the
late.
pet store.
Because I gotta take Kayla to the pet store. I think I was coming down here for something. I think I was gonna get that cheese. So let's get out of here before I get too distracted. So, gotta get that
I do
cheese.
believe there are some things in my pocket I need for the
Now he's
cake.
gonna
I
distract
should
me
leave them on the
again,
counter.
Pulling crap out of his pockets.
Fatty Bear, I was just upstairs. The puppies run off with the letters for the happy birthday sign.
Oh,
Puppy ran off with the
gracious.
letters for the
I
sign.
think Gretchen might need your help up in Kayla's room.
Who's Gretchen? Gretchen needs my help?
I think that's the doll upstairs.
Is this the
Yummy
first Fatty
cheese.
Bear? Am I supposed to know
You
all
never
these
know when
people?
I
It's
might
the
need
only Freddy
this.
Bear game.
So,
There's
why
only
are
the
they
one.
like throwing out all
I
these
need
names?
something to
As
help
if-
me get that puppy back into her box.
As if I know what the heck's going on.
Good girl.
Uh-oh. Good girl. Uh-oh. Never
Oh
mind.
my. If I had a new ribbon, I could keep the box closed.
Yeah.
I hope I can find a new ribbon to put on the puppy's box.
Oh, shit. So now we have to find a fresh ribbon? Then why did I save all this ribbon? Just to throw in the trash?
To remind you how far you've come.
To remind me that I need other ribbon? We must imprison that dog, Nick. Gotta lock it up. Okay, so I'm gonna give the cheese to this mouse. I assume that's gonna do something. And then I still need more ribbon to attach to my old ribbon.
Oh, wonderful. The key
Yeah,
to the
imprison
attic.
the mouse to help me imprison the dog. Because
The
we're
door is
basically
locked.
playing Pokemon with real animals.
The door is locked.
Snowballs, all boxes. Uh-oh.
I'll definitely need chocolate chips for a chocolatey chip cake.
I'll definitely need chocolate chips. Let's watch some TV. That's not a good show. Okay, but why did I end up in here?
Chocolate chips.
But I had them before.
Look at me.
I don't know how
Maybe I
babies
better
play
put
this,
this back.
Nick. I don't think this is a Babby game because it's too hard for me. Be careful what you type. Easy with what you say next. Check the closet. Uh-oh. This is not the closet.
Nothing in there.
Yeah, this was, I think, their first one.
This is Humongous's smallest game.
Yeah. I was gonna say it was actually the least successful.
These are the jokes, people. Okay, still the wrong room because I still don't know what I'm doing. There is the closet.
I need to find a new ribbon for Kayla's present. I wonder if I can find one in
Pervert?
here.
Well, there's no movement coming
Goodness,
from one of
it's
those
dark in
covers.
here.
Well,
The top of the boxes.
I want that A first,
I found the letter A.
and then I'm gonna see what's going on here.
That if you jump
Hip,
on top of the
hop,
crab leg.
hoop.
Hip hop hoop. Why is he jumping down? Wait, go.
Hip, hop, hoop. Watch out for the pouncing bear.
Watch out for the pouncing bear!
Now I can reach the ribbons.
Shut. Now
It
you can
says
reach the ribbons.
bows
It looks
and
really
ribbons.
safe,
This is exactly what I need.
but I don't want the ribbons. I kind of want that
That's
lava
the
lamp.
perfect ribbon for the puppy's box.
Can we put the lava lamp in the cake? Bye-bye. Alright, well, can we say bye-bye? How the hell do I get out of here? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Woohoo!
Hip,
Well, he doesn't have eyes. Look, all those sockets of horror. Yeah, look, there's nothing, and then now it's just like a black nose on a brown mob.
There's more adventure in the other.
Right.
Yeah. Pajama Sam had the Land of Darkness.
Well, Pajama Sam was afraid of the
Fatty
dark.
Bear's Florida House.
Fatty Bear is afraid of nothing, and I think that is what makes him
Very 80s house too.
less compelling.
Other than Bird David.
This house doesn't age well.
I
Okay,
do
so
believe there's something in my
finally
pocket
we have
I
the
need for the
puppy.
cake. I should leave it on the counter.
It was pouncing, Nicholas, and you know it. Now, I think that we have the bone.
Bear in charge of the dog.
Well, it's a teddy bear. So he's
Good
definitely
I'll bet this ribbon
animate,
would keep the
but
puppy in the box.
animated, so you know, witchcraft. So let's see. I don't think I need the garage door opener yet. I thought this bunny was gonna clean up the mess, so I feel like she should have really dealt with all that shit.
Can't call it black.
Brown magic? Is that still
That's
racist?
even worse. So much worse.
But
Just call it colored magic.
no, I think that's worse.
It looks like I need a I think I'll make a chocolatey chip birthday cake.
Okay,
Here's the
so
recipe for it.
I guess we should read the recipe first. That's a good place to start. So I'm gonna need a greased cake can. I'm gonna need to bake at 350 degrees door 45 minutes. I have chocolate chips, vanilla. I think I got flour, eggs, butter, and milk. So I just need sugar, and I assume this is baking powder and some measuring stuff. Who did? Me? Oh yeah. I slept on my iPad, so now it's crooked. It's normal problems. It's first world shit. Okay. Hey, you know, I gotta give the people what they want. So, where the hell
Oh
is the
dear,
garage?
I can't get back in there. It's locked on this side.
It's locked on this side. Is that the garage?
This will only work on the garage door.
No, it's only gonna work on the garage door, he says. So let's try around the other side. That's not where I wanted to go.
Got the D.
Give me that D.
I found the letter D.
Alright, let's go around the front. Do we know who wrote the score for this? Because great music. Yeah.
That looks suspiciously like a garage.
The way he's really talented. Okay, so I assume we need the hula hoop for the cake. Nick, you better give me a hint. Do I need to bake that hula hoop into the cake? Or is this just like Fatty Bear showing off? I think it's just showing off. Birds in the cake? We talked about chicken. I don't think they're coming back.
Never.
Oh, they came back. Okay, that's the
It's a
mail.
present for Kayla.
Rome's listeners are
They're gone forever.
Probably found the garage.
I need a remote control to open the garage.
Nick is
I need
looking
a
up
remote
who the
control to open
composer
the
was. He
garage.
says it's Tom McMail.
Okay. What else did he work on, Nick?
Shout outs
Now
for
I
Tom
can get in the-
McMail. Let's find out. Oh, I found the sugar.
How will you ever get to it?
Why would you keep
That's
the
the
sugar
sugar
in
I
the
need for
garage?
the birthday cake.
That seems like a
But I
health
can't
code
reach it.
violation.
Oh dear.
If I've ever heard one. Why is the ladder like sexily
That's the sugar I need for the birthday cake.
like sneaking around the
I can
corner?
use this to get the sugar.
Kind of flirting with Fatty Bear here. He is! Like one leg at a time. Okay, so I don't know that I need these
That
jugs
ladder is generally
of poisonous water. I'm out of here. This garage is freaking me out. Okay, so let's go in the front door. I assume the moon meaning
Good
being
evening,
made
that
of cheese doesn't affect me.
I do believe there's something in my pocket I need for the cake. I should leave it on the counter.
Is that normal? All the moons are made of cheese?
yeah, probably would.
Okay, so he worked on Putt Putt Joins the Parade.
Point and click
And-
Inspector Gadget game.
Believe it or not, Terminator, the movie?
The movie?
The movie Terminator? Nicholas, this sounds like fake news.
Yes. the
Yes,
movie?
it's fake news! Or yes, the movie.
What do you mean? He worked on the movie.
The movie. Okay, not fake
Fatty
news.
Bear, we need to make the cake in a hurry.
Okay, does that mean I have
No
all this
way.
stuff to make the cake? Did I do this?
It looks like I need a measuring cup if I'm
Okay,
going to make a
okay.
cake. I still need to find some things before. Nothing in there.
Nothing in
Nothing in there. Nothing in there. Nothing in.
Elephant in the cabinets?
I always use measuring spoons when I bake a
You
cake.
need like all of those.
This will help me mix the batter.
This will help me mix the batter.
I can measure things for the cake in this.
Alright, so...
I do believe there are some things in my pocket
I know,
need for
Fatty,
the
I
cake.
just grabbed
I should
them.
leave them on the counter.
God, can I open the other cabinet before you play games with me?
Nothing in there.
But the ones up top.
Well, I think I already did that, but Lord knows maybe we need some sardines for this cake. Sardine honey cake. I do declare.
Bullseye. I need 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Here we go.
Yeah. So everything's sitting out on the counter. More health code violations by the minute.
I need 1.5 cups of flour.
Sugar that was kept in the garage with the oil.
I need 1/2
Milk
cup
on the
of milk.
counter.
I
Butter
hope I
sitting
don't
out.
spill it.
You know, the chocolate chips that have been chewed on by a dog.
Vanilla smells good.
Meanwhile, a teddy
time
bear is
for
cooking
baking
his cake.
powder.
I don't think he washed his hands.
Now the cake will. Okay, eggs, do your stuff.
What?
Actually,
1 cup mini chocolate chips.
Alright, let's do
I
it.
am mixing a birthday
Is
cake.
this the
a
game?
birthday
Did I
cake,
beat
a
it
birthday
already?
cake. It is one I soon will bake for Kayla's birthday party.
Well, I think I only found B
I'm all
and D,
done
but
making
I
the
don't know how many
batter.
are
Now I
missing, and
need
I'm
to
not
bake
sure
it.
how I'm supposed to
I'll
know
put
if
the
they're
cake in
missing.
the oven for you, Fatty.
Thank you very much, Matilda Rabbit.
I gotta go figure out what I need to figure out. Why didn't the rabbit just do this all in the first place? She clearly knows what I need to have. She's gonna bake it for me. Alright, steampunk
cake
Seraph,
is
why don't you
done.
get over here and do this crap?
It smells wonderful.
Now you can decorate it.
Judgmental.
Decorating will be fun.
Put a penis on. Swear to God.
What do you want me to put on it? Well, no matter what, I'm putting a fatty on it. Is that a good joke or not really?
It crossed the line for me. So not funny. It became funny.
Alright.
Yeah.
Why did you only say the first letter? You didn't want to narrate the whole situation, you got scared, huh? You're like, I don't know where this is
I'm
going.
a little terrified. That little apostrophe?
Yeah. This cake is dedicated to all the haters.
I feel like this is some kind of Wheel of Fortune bit.
Making monies.
Making monies.
Patty's out here making monies.
Anything else?
Yeah. Some roses for the hose. And whatever kind of flower this is. A little cheaper, I think, for the shittier hose. Yeah. Little sprinks. And we out.
Here it is, a chocolatey chip birthday
Next
cake.
time, just put the Monster Mash on it.
Lovely. You are an excellent cake baker, Fatty Bear.
I was
I'll
working
carry
in the
cake
kitchen
up to the bedroom
late
for you,
one
Fatty
night.
Bear.
Thank you very much,
think
Matilda Rabbit.
Just could have gotten instructions to this game that I missed because I was singing the Monster Mash. Yeah. Yeah.
We should do this every
Griffin
night,
could
Fatty
sing you a
Bear.
song.
This is fun. You can make another cake if you want to.
I don't
The
know.
Ingredients are on the
Is
counter.
this stream for children or NSFW?
I haven't explicitly said that it's for people. What?
Well, how many people are even watching this?
Great question.
Yeah, it is for children now. We're playing Humongous Entertainment.
Cassie running. You're right, actually.
Yeah, I'm not wearing anything low cut enough to help you with your viewership. And I'm not funny enough to do it without that.
No comment.
Good. Smart move. Alright,
Fatty Bear!
so...
A terrible thing has happened. The
Terrible
puppies
thing
run off
happened.
with
Puppy
3 of the
ran off
letters
with
for the happy
3 of the
birthday
letters.
sign. I can't spell happy birthday without them.
Guess what? Gretchen, I have some letters for the happy birthday
So
sign.
he has 2 of the
Thank
letters.
you. Would you please put
here's
the
what I
letters
think.
on the bulletin board
I think
for
it's
me?
gonna be
Sure I will,
efficient.
Gretchen.
If I had to
Thank
guess,
you. Oh, and Fatty Bear, could you also blow up 5 balloons for me, please?
blow up
They're
5
right there on the toy
balloons.
shelf.
I think we saw
I'll
balloons
do it,
earlier.
Gretchen,
Where did we
because
see
what
them,
is a
Robin?
party without balloons?
Oh, shut up.
That's
1, 2,
That's
Trace,
that's
Quattro,
4.
Cinco.
That's all 5.
I have all the balloons. I have all the
What if
balloons
want
I
a few
need.
more?
Great job, Fatty Bear.
Alright, fine.
Nick's got a point.
I hope you put those letters up on the bulletin board soon, Fatty Bear.
What's his point there, Roman? Would you care to elaborate?
One of the 3 letters that's missing is D. We collected that
I
letter.
still need to
Yeah,
find
well, I got that
one
big
more
D,
letter.
but. Okay, so let's head down. And check out what's going on in this fish tank. I missed this game. Oh, come on. Fish, are you kidding me? Come on, fish. I know you've got it in you. Ugh. Fuck this game. Cushions? In the cushions?
Actually,
No, he's just kind of wandering around. There's a mouse and a snake. Normal stuff to find in cushions?
I did find a snake in my garage.
You did find a snake in the garage this morning.
I don't have any proof.
And nobody believes you.
I need a remote control to open the
If
garage.
a snake is found in the garage, but no one's there to see it. Is it really found? I don't know, Nick.
Now I
What do
can
you
get in the
think?
garage.
You should check the top of the treehouse.
I was up there. I think that was after the puppy was found, though. So I feel like once you find the puppy is when these things go in. Yeah, Nick says you need proof. I agree. Instagram pics or it didn't happen. You know the rules. This is 2019. Okay, so let's head into the backyard. Kinda like these,
They're good.
earphones are comfy.
Yeah. They cost me $11.
How much? Where do you find the money for this? Priorities. Alright, so let's see.
It was technically, you know,
Little hot tea, little
Ah,
pulley
now
system.
that hit the spot.
Alright, Nick, what do I do?
never asked me for help.
Well, you're not typing things in on the thing. Well, do you want to jump in? You want to come over here? Get back involved?
Yeah.
Hop in on the stream?
Yeah.
Get the last letter? You want to take back your fandom?
I have to.
You must. It's your destiny. I'm killing your feed. Nothing's happening.
Everything's gone.
There's dead
dark.
air. There's dead air, Roman. You better fix it.
I want to play Smash at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Is it 1 o'clock in the morning?
It's 1:20.
Guess what time it is in Hawaii? Whatever 1 o'clock minus 5 hours is. Okay, so 8 p.m. 8:20. So the night is young, dude.
And so am I.
I want to play Fatty Bear next. I don't like the dog character because I think he'd eat me.
I never asked for the hamster. Ever tell you about that part where mom just buys things sometimes on Christmas?
I ever told you about the garage? He was trying to get it.
I'm glad it's just labeled seed.
We need those for the cat. Nick told me.
Corn.
Corn. Very good corn.
We can't go here.
Oh dear, I can't get back in there. It's
Yeah.
locked on this side.
Oh shoot! I know where that is. I actually know what that is. Have you gone to the laundry chute yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I did most everything before the puppy came.
Thanks, Nick. And that's in here, right?
Because the puppy, after he.
Ah, it's a P.
Well, of course you find pee in the bathroom.
I found the letter P. This must be for the birthday sign.
This can't argue with that. That's a good joke.
You didn't tell me you were the comedy master. Ugh.
Furious typing coming from Nicholas after that joke.
How many viewers do we have? What's
I have letters for
happening?
the happy birthday sign.
Where's my mouse?
Thank you.
I would
Would you
guess
please
probably.
put the letters on the bulletin board?
We got
please?
3.
Sure I will,
Yes.
Gretchen.
Oh god.
Those are the letters for Gretchen's sign.
Here.
You can see the
Birthday.
Happy.
Hooray, hurrah! I spelled happy birthday. Phew, all done. Now everything is ready for Kayla's party.
Fatty, you have done a wonderful job. I'm so excited. I hope Kayla wakes up soon.
I'm so worried and I'm feeling quite sick. Fatty Bear, get to bed quick.
Okay, here we go. It's bedtime for Fatty Bear.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. I think.
Birth pay. You know what else?
Good morning.
You know what else is
Oh
fucking
my
weird?
goodness, what a surprise.
Is Kayla's
Everything
parents
looks
didn't have anything
beautiful.
planned besides just buying her a dog and putting it in a
Happy
box.
birthday, Kayla.
We did everything
We
else.
have a surprise for you.
Yeah.
Oh, a puppy. This is the best birthday I ever had. Thank
best
you,
birthday she's
Fatty
ever had.
Bear. Oh, thank you, everybody.
Fairly certain. Like 90%.
Yeah, and the parents don't notice.
The carrot. The parents are not at all concerned that they did none of this yet. Somebody broke into our house and just like made a birthday party for her. What's the deal with this carrot? That. It's time to stop.
Bye. Thanks for helping.
Alright, what's next?
Wanna play Smash Brothers?
Whatever you want.
We can play Smash Brothers. We can play that for stream, but we don't have a lot of space here.
Well,
We could just end the stream.
What are our 3 viewers
Well, I mean, we've been at this for 4 hours. That's a long enough time for a stream, in my opinion. Especially since
What would Booty Pie? WWPPD.
And on that note, I'm gonna stop the live stream because I don't want to die on camera. So thanks everybody for watching. Fuck. Thanks specifically to Jared, Noah, Zap, Wit, Nick, and Lob. And Gart, actually. Gart said hi at some point. Thank you very much, Gart, for watching. And everyone else who showed up and didn't say hi in the chat because you guys are important too. Well, I'm going to go do things with my sister. What is tomorrow?
Friday.
Tomorrow is Friday. I'm gonna do my best to show up and do another stream tomorrow. Of trying to finish some of the very last things I need to do in Yakuza 0. Or maybe some multiplayer stuff with Colin, depending on if he's online. That is the current running plan we have for tomorrow. But thanks again for watching.
Does anybody do live streaming?
I'm sure somebody does. Yeah.
Did such a good.
Can you get it right up on the microphone and give us your "It's locked"?
It's locked.
Thank
Is
you.
that relevant to anybody but us?
I don't think anybody knows what that means, but we can change that.
It's good to know it's you.
That's my favorite one. So, good night. Have a day.
And I'll see everybody next time. You have anything to say? Right?
Ready for you.
Good night, everyone. I'm ending the stream.